Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking an impartial deep dive into one of the most controversial, hotly debated figures in all of political history. We're looking at exactly why Niccolo Machiavelli's works, especially his famous handbook for rulers, The Prince, have sparked such intense, passionate criticism for literally centuries. Whether you think his pragmatic approach is brilliant, or you find it totally morally reprehensible, getting a solid handle on these arguments is absolutely crucial to understanding modern political thought.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We'll be breaking this down into 5 main areas today. The problem with Machiavelli, the moral indictment, his flawed view of humanity, the practical failures of his writings, and finally, why his ideas might actually be a self-defeating strategy.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, the problem with Machiavelli, power over ethics.
The absolute core issue that scholars, theologians, and philosophers have been raising for hundreds of years stems from Machiavelli entirely separating politics from ethics. He promotes this strict might makes right view of power, and it's all anchored by one foundational concept: the ends justify the means. Now, critics argue that relying on this logic is incredibly dangerous. Why? Well, because it effectively normalizes tyranny, state propaganda, and systemic dishonesty. Think about it. If the survival of the state is literally the only thing that matters, then suddenly acts of extreme cruelty and deception become perfectly acceptable tools in a ruler's toolkit.
And this mindset creates a massive, highly destructive ripple effect. By normalizing what a ruler might just brush off as a necessary evil, sure, a regime might achieve a quick short-term success. But opponents argue this logic inevitably generates endless cycles of violence and corruption. Because once one regime justifies doing terrible things just to survive, their political rivals instantly feel licensed to match that exact level of corruption. It becomes this brutal race to the bottom, where ethical rules are just entirely thrown out the window.
Which brings us right to Section 2, the moral indictment, a danger to public morality.
Historical critics haven't exactly minced words when it comes to Machiavelli. I mean, getting openly labeled a teacher of evil and the devil's disciple? Yeah, that's not exactly a glowing 5-star review. They use this super intense terminology because they firmly, completely reject his premise that cruelty, deception, and betrayal can ever be made acceptable, even if it's supposedly done to maintain the state. To these moral critics, reducing politics to just raw, naked power is entirely morally bankrupt.
So, in stark contrast to Machiavelli's approach, many philosophers insist on a really powerful counterclaim. What is morally wrong can never be politically right. For his opponents, removing moral constraints from the exercise of power isn't just some alternative political strategy, it's fundamentally and deeply dangerous to human society. They argue that ethics and politics are deeply intertwined. They cannot, and honestly should not, be separated just for the sake of convenience.
And this perceived danger extended far beyond just the rulers at the top. It bled directly into the broader culture. Religious and moral critics argue that Machiavellianism actively erodes public trust, and it encourages cynicism and dishonesty in ordinary, everyday life, not just in the halls of power. Actually, it was viewed as such a dangerous, immoral blueprint for ruling that, fun historical fact, the Catholic Church actually placed The Prince on its index of prohibited books. They did this specifically to prevent what they saw as its deeply corrupting influence on society as a whole.
Let's turn now to Section 3, a flawed view of humanity, pessimism versus trust. Machiavelli's entire political theory is built on a rather bleak, kind of depressing baseline assumption. People are naturally selfish, fickle, and ungrateful. However, modern critics argue that this extreme pessimism is entirely unsubstantiated and way too narrow. They suggest he basically took the chaotic, cutthroat behavior of the Italian Renaissance that he was living through and wrongly generalized it to represent all of humanity. In doing so, he completely ignored our innate capacity for cooperation and community.
This conflict of ideas becomes really obvious when we compare Machiavelli directly with modern democratic theory. Where Machiavelli sees humans as purely selfish and fickle, modern theory actually relies on civic virtue and solidarity. Where he believes rulers must be completely reliant on military force, modern states are reliant on robust institutions and the rule of law. And crucially, while he totally overvalues fear and coercion to constantly intimidate subjects, modern democracy depends entirely on popular trust, willing consent, and cooperation.
Which leads us to a massive rhetorical question. Does fear actually guarantee stability? Take a second to really think about that. If a state is built purely on intimidation and the constant threat of violence, can it actually survive and thrive in the long run? Posing this specific question elegantly shifts our explainer from abstract moral theory to the actual gritty practical realities of governing a state. And that brings us to Section 4, the practical failures, inconsistencies, and contradictions.
When we look directly at his text side by side, the contradictions are actually quite glaring. On the one hand, you have his most famous work, The Prince, which holds a super bleak view of humans and strongly favors autocratic, single-person rule. But then contrast that with his other major work, The Discourses. In that one, he presents a much more nuanced, complex view of humanity and is actually quite Republican-friendly. Scholars point to this stark inconsistency to argue that his political philosophy wasn't some grand master plan, but rather wildly unsystematic.
So the conclusion a lot of critics draw is that Machiavelli was simply a practical political tactician lacking deeper normative or metaphysical justification. In other words, he was much more concerned with the day-to-day tactical moves of grabbing and holding on to power than he was with building a cohesive, well-justified philosophical system. He effectively skipped the whole why of governments and went straight to the how.
Which leads us right into our final section. Section 5, a self-defeating strategy, the collapse of trust.
The ultimate practical critique of his work is this really compelling idea that Machiavellianism actually undermines its own stated goal, which is long-term stability. Let's look at how this failure cascades, kind of like a row of falling dominoes. Step 1. Rulers use deception and cruelty to maintain power. Step 2. Because of this constant endless manipulation, public trust is completely eroded. Step 3. Consequently, allies and institutional structures become totally unreliable. Everyone's just expecting a knife in the back. And finally, Step 4. Long-term stability completely fails. The very security the ruler was seeking in the first place gets destroyed by their own paranoid methods.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative question. If every ruler expects betrayal and uses deception, can anyone ever reliably secure long-term stability? It's a profound paradox, really. Machiavelli sought to teach rulers how to perfectly secure the state, but his critics forcefully argued that a foundation built on deceit and fear is basically guaranteed to crumble under its own weight. It really makes you reconsider the true cost of raw, unchecked power. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this structural breakdown leaves you totally eager to dive even deeper into the fascinating, messy world of political